Rolling.
Het means new beginning. Remember last week we were talking about the flood, that there were only 8 people, right? And after 7 days of creation, God begins a new beginning with 8 people in the ark, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
1G.
1G, okay. Guys, in the back to Karma. That's your weakness in math?
There's some words that I have a really hard time spelling.
Okay.
Just you saying it doesn't make it easier.
1N.
G-I-N.
Not beginning and ending.
Beginning.
Begin
Okay.
and ING.
This is, okay. So what is the 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet?
The 10th letter is a yod.
It's a yod, okay? And the numerical value is 10, right?
Yes.
You need a G-I-N-N-I-N-G.
See, I spelled it correctly.
Come on, let's go.
That was you wrong. You must have did it.
So,
There you go.
so Abraham is over 100 years old, or 100 years old, right? So, the numerical value for Azadi is what?
That is a,
What's the numerical value? Look at your notes.
Espérate, espérate.
oh, 90.
90. Okay, put it up before me, huh?
Azadi?
90.
Wait, sorry.
90. Okay, put a kuf up there.
Right beside the Zod.
Kuf.
That's a P.
Backwards. It's a P, Beth.
Oh, that is P.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not backwards. It's just on both.
The 9? Oh, that one.
Right there. Okay, but put it below each other, mijita.
100.
Put the kuf below the sadi. Okay, so that's 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very interesting. The Zadi is Sarah. She was 90 years old.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
The Kuf is Abraham.
100 years old? Talk about how
It's Abraham.
And the head is 8. Right?
Yeah.
See? It's 8.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A new beginning. So you have 2 people, a 90 and a 100-year-old, bring a new beginning, Isaac.
Wow.
Okay.
1 S, 2 A's.
There's 2 eggs.
There you go. Okay? You with me now? Okay. Now we're going to get to Genesis 22. Let's see how long we stay here. It's 8 o'clock. ¿Ella está Pati atrás, mijo? ¿Ahí está mi Pati? ¿No está Pati? No está. ¿No está? ¿Y tú vas a cerrar? ¿Lo que vamos hasta medianoche está bien?
No, I'm tired. Like two, she isn't taking it that long.
Chairs are not comfortable on your tailbone.
They're not. Oh my goodness. Scott, tell me.
Ma.
Okay.
Or do you like water does? Teachers.
Oh yeah, I want teacher. It looks like she's having a seizure.
Okay. Here we go.
All right, go.
Okay. Gloria, would you read 22, 1 and 2?
22 what?
1 and 2, verses 1 and 2 of Genesis 22.
After these things, God tested Abraham. He said, Abraham. And he answered, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the island of Moriah. There you are to offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will point out to you.
Okay. What do you have there? We could do a whole, if I was in the church and I was preaching, I could do a whole sermon just on those two verses. You have so much meat there that we're gonna start dissecting the meat. Don't you fall asleep on me because I'm gonna use you. In Genesis 22, look up the word et in Hebrew and see how many times the word et appears in Hebrew.
At 22?
In chapter 22, see how many
Sure.
the word et appears.
No
That's
problem.
gonna be your homework. Okay? So, still not doing anything?
No.
Okay. So, verse 1 again. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, he said, Inani. Right? Mika, on the board, put Hey, Nun, Yod. Below it, put the word Hineni. Hineni. Hineni.
Is vet included on that too?
Mhm.
You want X only or vet?
Et.
Et only, no what? Okay.
Okay? Traditionally, this word says, here I am. Write down, here I am. In certain Jewish writings, the word hineni means behold. But I'm going to use here I am instead of the word behold for the simple reason I'm going to show you something here. So, we read, my sister-in-law read, Rosa read, before I went to the bathroom, that Abraham was talking directly to God and says, are you going to destroy Sodom for the sake if we find 50 righteous people? Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to negotiate, right? Why doesn't he negotiate here for his son? Look at verse 2. Gloria, read verse 2.
On what?
Genesis 22:2.
He said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah. There you are to offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will point out to you.
So what did he say? Take now thy son, thine only son. My sister-in-law said, well, Ishmael was not the promised one. Isaac was, right? Can we erase that? Go ahead, Mika, erase it.
24 times.
Okay. 24 times, 2 plus 4 is 6, right?
Right. Dove.
Well, okay. And then we break it down, the 4 is the dalet and the 6 is the vav, the door that's on the vav, or the nail that's on the door,
Where the nail is the door.
or the nail is the door. 24, right? Okay. So, he says, your only son, right? This is the word Yehid. Yod He, Yod He, Yod Dalet. You don't fall asleep on me, Daniel. Yod He, Yod Dalet. Someone read John 3:16. Anybody? Don't you know that by memory?
Yeah.
I will put enmity between you and the seed of the woman, I think.
Mija, put the word Yehid.
Forgot some other word that you didn't know.
Y-E-C-H-I-D.
You should have blamed it.
Y-E-C-H-I-D. You forgot that verse already?
So is Yahid with a hay or with a het?
Okay, and this verse here.
Okay.
So, Abraham does not challenges the Lord or asks, why do you want me to take my son? And then he says, your only son. He says, and then he says to the Lord, but Lord, I have 2 sons. I have Ishmael. And the Lord says, no, but the one that you love. Well, I love them both. You see this dialogue going back and forth in Abraham's eyes?
Sure,
You see this? Are you with me?
sure.
So, but God says, Isaac, Isaac. Okay? Verse 3, or Vincent, here's what's going to get fun. Look at verse 3. Pay close attention. Don't fall asleep on me.
And Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son. And he split the wood for the ascending offering, and arose and went in to the place which Elohim had commanded him.
So, it's 2 young men, right? Who were the 2 young men? And the story says that 2 young men were Ishmael
And Eliezer.
and Eliezer. Okay? These are the 2 that went with him. Ishmael and Eliezer. Verse 4. Laura, real slow. I want you to pay close attention here. Very slow. There's a nugget right there.
And on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place from a distance. So Abraham said to his young men.
Just that verse.
Wait, so
Verse 4. What did he do?
was it a dream?
His eyes.
I'm sorry?
Was it a dream?
No, look at read the verse again.
The 3rd day.
Saw the place from a distance.
On the 3rd day.
So Abraham said to his
On what day?
3rd day.
3rd day.
On the 3rd day. Can I say something here? You're not going to get mad at me if I say something here?
Go for it.
3 days, right?
Right.
Right? Abraham in his heart, in his mind, he knew, in his mind, he would say, my son is already dead.
Right?
Jonah was in the well for 3 days. Yeshua was in the cave for 3 days and he resurrected. Here's the number 3. What was the 3rd letter of the Hebrew alphabet?
Gimel.
Gimel. And what was the Gimel that Sonia put down?
The righteousness.
Something's going to be revealed, right? So Abraham, when he said the 3rd day, he already knew that his son Isaac was already dead, spiritually, per se.
Dead man walking.
A dead man walking, thank you. Okay? You see the picture here? You got it?
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
So he saw the place. Was it a physical place or was it the day of the Lord?
I think it was a physical place.
I'd say both.
Well, could be.
I think both because of the context of the whole prophetic aspect of the Akedah
Okay.
takes us to that exact.
Okay.
To both
So
statements. Anyway.
put the phrase and rose early. And rose early in English. Below me because you're gonna run into space. Just below Vairah. Just put and rose early right there. From left to right, right there. And rose early. In Hebrew, this word is vayishkem. Vayishkem. Okay? And you write this word in Hebrew, a vav, a yod, a shin, a kaf,
Backwards.
the backward C, and a mem sofi.
No. No. That's not a cough.
No,
It's a backward C.
Like this, mijita. Just like that. And a mem Sophie. So he rises. So he rises early, and what does he do when he rose early? Verse 3. He saddled his donkey, right? He rose early and saddled his donkey. Wait a minute. Doesn't Abraham has any servants that could have done that for him?
Yeah, but Elohim instructed him to go and take his 2 sons.
A directive.
Right, he ditched the kids.
Okay.
Helpers.
So he took it upon him. That's initiative, right? Now look at verse 4. Kefa. Well, verse 5, Kefa.
So Abraham said to his young man, "Stay here with the donkey while the boy and I go over there and worship and come back to you."
Verse 6 is very critical here.
Smart. No witnesses.
Okay? Verse 6. Can he say? Rebbitzin?
And Abraham took the wood of the ascending offering and laid it on Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and the 2 of them went together.
Okay? And he put the wood on
His back.
Isaac's son. Isaac's a picture of the Messiah. The wood is a picture of the cross. Isaac was here 37 years old, approximately. He wasn't a young boy.
Yeah.
Okay? And the translation in the Hebrew, if I'm not mistaken, what does it say there in the Hebrew? Na'ar?
Which
Or
verse?
Nar?
Verse what?
Verse 6.
Almost there. Referring to the what?
Well, verse 5.
Verse 5. Okay.
It says, "For the lad and I will return."
And come again to you. So let me see.
I have a Hebrew word. And see if that's the same one
The
as you're gonna...
Neshubah?
I'm sorry?
The Neshubah?
No. I'm looking for the word ne'arav. Scribe. That's a noon.
Hana'ar.
Well, it's not the one I have.
Na'arav. I see it.
You see it?
El Na'arav.
Right. So we have a noon, an ayin, a resh, a yod, and a vav. Okay? I have a footnote here. Go back to Genesis 18. I'm gonna go by myself. You all stay on 22. Let's see what I have in Genesis 18. No. I'll let it go with that. So,
So there's that root word, noon ayin resh. Interesting. I see where you're going. I think I see where you're going.
okay.
I'm
So,
guessing.
in Genesis 18, from verse 1 to 22, we got the word vairah, right? So, let's break down those chapters. Okay, mijita, just put chapter 18, on left to right, all the way to the left, put chapter 18. And below chapter 18, what are the things that really stand out in that particular chapter? First, we have the birth of Isaac, or the promise of the birth of Isaac's, or the promise, put the promise of Isaac's birth.
Oh, the English just kills it for me. I can't figure it out.
Right, it just the English doesn't do us any.
It doesn't give me no clues.
Okay,
Well, let me look it up in Hebrew. And
look up in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Chapter 19. The things that really stand out in this chapter is the doom of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot and his daughters. Okay, why did Lot's wife turn into a pillar of salt?
She looked back.
She looked back. Well, that's what it says, right? In the narratives, let me give a little bit of insight. Are you ready to put that? The doom of Sodom. Sodom, S-O-D-O-M. O-M. And Lot and his daughters. It says in one of the commentaries that when the angels or the men went into Lot's house, that Lot's wife made an excuse to go to the neighbor, and she told Lot the excuse, I need to go to the neighbor to get some salt because I'm out of salt and start preparing the meal. What festival was this festival that the angels appeared into Lot's home, into Sodom and Gomorrah?
Pesach, no?
Pesach. This was Passover. Okay? So, she told Lot, I need to go to my neighbors and get some salt because I ran out. That's the excuse that she gave. Well, when she went over to the neighbor's house, she told the neighbor that there were two men that Lot had snuck into his home. When the neighbor told the rest, that's when the men, young and old, started to press the door of Lot's home. Okay? And Lot is at the door and he says, "Man, let me give you, I have two daughters that have not known men, but leave our guests alone." And the men said, "We don't want your daughters, we want the men." And the angels pushed Lot aside. And of course the Torah says that all the men became blind, young and old. Okay? So, in the story, in the narrative, the angel tells Lot, here's God's mercy. God is getting ready to bring judgment. Remember, God has two attributes, judgment and mercy. He's about to bring judgment on Sodom, and he tells Lot, go tell your daughters. He had other daughters that were married, living in Sodom. He goes to their house and tells them, please, gather everything and follow us. Let's go out because God's going to bring judgment on the city. And they refused. So the only one who left was Lot, his two daughters, and his wife. Okay? And he tells them, do not look back. Of course, we know the story that Lot's wife looks back and she becomes a pillar of salt. God brings judgment. Megiddo, measure for measure.
Can I inject something there?
Go ahead.
When she looked back, she looked at the angel, the destroying angel, because he was right behind them, and he told them not to look back.
Okay?
Can I share something there?
Sure.
You talk about measure for measure. Okay? Now, Lot offered his daughters to be raped.
Yeah.
But what did they do to him?
He raped him.
Oh, what he spoke, he got. Oh.
They,
The daughters raped him?
yes, they got him drunk and raped him and had kids.
Yep, so and then they became pregnant.
So measure for measure.
Oh.
But Laura, it ain't all that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. You know why? Because the Messiah comes from one of the lineage, from one of that acts.
For the Moabites.
Yes, but the people themselves are bad. The generations thereafter are twisted.
Yeah, but God can always use something.
But here's the actual story of Ruth. Okay, summed up is that no matter what your heritage is, if you choose to follow after Hashem, you can have a righteous generation. No matter what your family, the people around you are, you can birth a righteous generation. That's the story of Ruth.
Out of darkness comes light.
Right. Yeah, you got Genesis 1 right there.
See the picture? You okay with that now? So, moving on, verse 6. Abraham puts the wood on the back of Isaac's back. Okay, but we're not there here. Chapter 20. Chapter 20, what are the things that are interested in chapter 20?
The excitement is just messing me up.
Chapter 20 is Abraham and Abimelech. That's the whole narrative of Abraham and Abimelech. You spell Abimelech Abimelech.
You said Abraham what?
Abimelech. Abimelech. In the story there is that Abimelech wanted Sarai because she was very beautiful at the age of 90 plus years old. It says that she looked like a 20-year-old.
Finish that part again.
A-B-I.
Okay,
A-B-M-I.
Abimelech. You ready? A-B-I-M-E-L E-C-H. Abimelech. So Abimelech, he wanted Sarai. But God says, What does Abimelech do to Abraham? How many of you read Parsha? Only Scotty? In chapter 21, let's go to chapter 21, all of us. Okay? Look at someone starting verse 22. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of the host, spoke unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swore unto me by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me and to the land where thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants have violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I would not have done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither ye, as if I had but to this day. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave unto Abimelech, and the both of them made a covenant. Okay, and Abraham set 7 ewes, lambs of the flock by themselves, and Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ewes which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, These 7 ewes, lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have dug this well. Therefore he called that place Beersheba, because they had swore both of them. And they made a covenant of Beersheba. And Abimelech rose up and becalled the chief captain of the host, and they returned unto the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and it is the same name of the Lord, the everlasting God. This Beersheba is Beersheba, where Abraham goes and dwells in the end of chapter 22. Watch, it's going to come out. Okay, verse 7. You with me? You guys falling asleep?
Verse 7 in what chapter?
22? Okay. Now, verse 7 is going to get real nice here. Let's see here. Let's go. I got so much notes saying I'm not going to finish this, guys, tonight. There's no way.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, there's no
What
way.
else is new?
Okay, so in verses 1 and 3 of Genesis, God or Abraham thinks back. There are 7 blessings in that particular verses. I'm just going to go very briefly to you. Watch this. We need to do this because as we move on, you will understand Genesis 22. Who's yawning?
I am.
Daniel.
Abraham thinks back. Look what it says in verse 1 of chapter 12. Now the Lord said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house thou unto the land where I will show thee. And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will make thy name great, and and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and I curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Right? So, there are 7 blessings that went here. First, he left his homeland. He was over 75 years old when he left his homeland. Just got up and moved. Okay? So, look at Look at the 7 blessings. Look at chapter 15, verses 5 and 6. (15, 5 and 6). He says, and brought him forth abroad and said, look up now toward the heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it for him for righteousness. So the blessing, one of the blessings, he looks up to the heavens. 17:19, he says, and God says, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I shall establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. That's the second blessing. 21:12. 21:12. It says, and God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of the bondwoman. In all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Here is where Ishmael and Hagar are let go. And heard Abraham, right? So, let's go to Hebrews chapter 11. Brihakadasha. Hebrews 11, 17 and 19. By faith, verse 17, by faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he had received the promises, offered up his only begotten son, of whom he said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from hence also he received him in a figure. So he was already getting ready to what? Sacrifice him. In 3 days, Abraham knew in his heart that he was already what? Dead, right? Spiritually or physically?
Spiritually.
Spiritually, right?
Yeah, but I don't understand that.
What?
How can he foresee that he is dead?
Well, God said that he was to sacrifice it because, well, look at the narrative, ahorita. Watch this. Now that you brought that question, now you're going to answer it. Look at verse 7 of Genesis 22. Here's your answer. Genesis 22, verse 7. Go ahead.
Oh, and the elders of Moab.
No, Genesis 22.
Oh, my numbers. I'm not so excited.
Genesis 22. You guys ready back there? Gonna fall asleep? It's already 8:30. Grandma gave me till midnight. I got two and a half hours to go.
Genesis 22:7.
Yes.
And Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, Father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, See the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for an ascending offering?
So God has a plan. Okay? Is it spiritual? Or is it physical?
Both.
Both, right? Let's talk about Israel. Israel was a baby in 1967. How old was Israel as a nation?
Oh God, 48.
19 years.
Yeah.
Israel was a baby, 19 years old. And Israel is facing a big challenge. 6-day war, the Yom Kippur War. Israel was fighting Syria, Egypt, and Jordan. And they were backed by Russia. Okay? 3 nations against 1. If you ever get yourself a hand on a video against all odds, I challenge you, get it and see it. Against all odds.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, sir.
Real briefly, the United States or West Point does not use any of the battles that Israel has won because they cannot explain
The logic.
what happened. There's no logic to the fact that Israel wins. So anyway, thought I'd throw that in there.
That's a good one.
It's a very
But they do study the 7-day war.
They may study it, but they can't come up to any logical
No,
conclusions.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, out of
Yeah.
all Israel's history, they do study the 7-day wars and the battle tactics that they
Right.
tried to use.
Okay. Physical and spiritual, right? That's what I said? Can we erase that already from the board? We got that? Linda, you got it?
No. Oh, sorry.
Uh-oh. Sleep on the job?
Yes, I was writing down against
Okay.
all odds.
Okay, sure.
It's a good,
Just remember Phil Collins.
Huh?
Just remember Phil Collins.
Just remember.
You just got it.
Oh, that's his song, right?
Well, that's what'll happen when you Google it. You'll get against Phil Collins first. You gotta keep looking.
No, that's why I wrote video. Right? Music.
You'll still get a video for Against All Odds. Video of Phil Collins. So you gotta have to search for it. It's-
okay.
it's
On the left,
hidden
I want you, on the top header,
in all
I want you to
commercial
put,
stuff.
in the middle, put it in the middle, God's plan. In the middle, God's plan.
It's darn good video. It's only, it's short too, less than an hour. It's less than an hour if I need it.
On the left,
Why
Put-
did you forget the O?
put the header,
We never do them.
put
Situation.
physical.
Situation. Got to do with it.
On the right, as a header, put spiritual. Below the physical, I want you to write this statement. If Isaac is sacrificed, got that? Below that, of God's plan cannot occur. On the spiritual, I want you to put, if Yeshua is not sacrificed, the spiritual side of God's plan cannot occur. What do you think?
Very true.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So did Isaac die?
Well, I don't know. Where did he go? We're gonna see the narrative of the Bible here. You're getting two answers. She wants the answer. If I give her the answer, then we're gonna say, class is finished, we'll see you Monday.
That's what she wants.
She wants the cake with the frosting.
She wants her own Cliff Notes.
Yes. Beth's tired too. We're gonna finish it now. I tell you, I'm not gonna finish this. There's too much.
Your head is
That
huge.
part you do.
We'll probably finish it next week.
Well, study.
We'll finish it next week. Here we go.
Did you get your Hebrew letters down?
So-
You can read it in Hebrew and then you get it. You'll understand.
Okay. Look at this, what I wanna say here. Very interesting.
That's not true.
I said, if Isaac is sacrificed, is the physical side of God's plan cannot occur. In the spiritual, if Yeshua is not sacrificed, the spiritual side of God's plan cannot occur. Okay? Here's what I want to say. If Isaac is sacrificed, then there will be no Jacob.
Oh, so he didn't.
I don't know yet what.
There you go.
He had to have
Slow
one.
down, slow down.
Your husband is getting frustrated.
No, I'm good.
That's okay. I'll question them later.
And then our big but, Rabbi said.
You're not gonna sleep in armor, brother, I can tell you. She's gonna keep
Do
you
you need a
up.
pair of earplugs?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Just thought I'd mention
I have an extra bedroom, you can spend the night.
it. You can stay here probably.
No, that's all right.
Okay, so here we go. So,
She can stay here.
okay, so. If Isaac was sacrificed, I said, then there would be no Jacob. Then there would be no Israel. There would be no 12 tribes. Okay? Remember that the Messiah comes from one of those tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know which one?
Okay.
Okay, I think
He's the
everybody's tired.
teacher, he's the teacher, you're the student.
What else do you have to?
I guess all of us are a little bit more
It's
now.
just too overwhelming. But it's Yehuda, Mika.
That's a good question.
Judah.
That's a great question.
Yehuda.
And it was almost up there on with that word that you had in Hebrew. You showed the letters a bit.
Here's the plan. And as we're getting into Bereshit, there's a lot of things that are happening that are progressing to the lineage of the Messiah.
Big time.
We haven't spoken about Rahab yet, but the Battle of Jericho, where Rahab saves the two spies. One of them came up to be her husband, of the two. Okay. We haven't spoken yet of the miraculous sacrifices that God has done in the process. I was sharing with Linda earlier in the evening, when Joseph, or when Bnei Israel comes to Egypt to buy food, because there's a famine. And whenever you see famine in the Bible, the word famine translated means separation from God. Separation from God. Okay? So, are we done with that? Now, if Yeshua is not sacrificed, the spiritual side of God's plan cannot occur. Yeshua was sacrificed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the third day he arose. Gloria's tired already. We'll leave at 9 o'clock, Laura. Got 50 more minutes. Bear with me here. This is very critical for us to understand. Because below that, I want you to put on the board, Mika, I want you to put 3 headers. Abraham. In the middle, you're gonna put Isaac. And then you're gonna put Jacob. And Daniel, it can't be that bad, Daniel.
Sorry.
In the middle, Mama, it's too close to Abraham.
I'm still recovering.
I recovered yesterday. I apologize. I slept almost 14 hours.
Mine's always broken is the problem.
To the right, I want you to put Jacob. You're too close to Isaac.
Can I have something? Whatever you.
Okay.
Disregard.
Look at Jacob. Jacob leaves Israel. Just put leaves Israel. Abraham, Israel. Abraham leaves Israel. Where's Isaac?
In Israel.
He stays home in Israel. Okay? Daniel, you haven't read tonight, and Scott
Yes,
hasn't
I
read.
did.
No, I know.
You wanna read?
Sure.
Great. I want you to do,
Sure.
Genesis 24, Scott, Genesis 24, 5 and 6. Below Abraham, I want you to put, he's born in Ur. Born in Ur, you are. Then below that, he goes to Egypt. Go ahead, brother.
24, 5 and 6.
Mhm.
And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou came? And Abraham said to him, Beware that thou shalt bring not my son thither again.
Okay. What's this? Below Abraham, he goes to Egypt because of the famine. Because of the famine. Below him, because we're gonna. But because of the below Egypt. Okay? Jacob, go to Jacob. But he escapes Esau's wrath. Esau tried to kill him, right? Why?
Stole the birthright.
ESAU apostrophe S. He stole his birthrights,
Yes.
but Esau was given to him for a pot of lentil soup.
Yeah.
Well, kind of sort of. Or the blessing. The blessing.
Esau's wrath. He escapes Esau's wrath where? In his mother's native land. WR. Put a WR. Put a W.
Oh.
Okay. He escapes Esau's wrath in mother's native land. Okay? And then Jacob dies in Egypt. Scotty, the next verse, Genesis 26, 1 and 3.
26,
1 and 3. Dies in Egypt.
just 1 and 3.
1 to 3, Genesis 26.
You want 2 as well?
Yes, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his elder son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Here I am. And he said, Behold, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go to the field, and take me some venison, baby. Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's the little version. Okay. That's the amplified version.
Okay. Take thy bow and
Quiver.
was he a crafty hunter?
Yes.
Where did he get that? We still haven't spoken about the coat that God
Rabbi,
gave.
we can't talk about everything, sir.
Well, we've got this.
That
We've
coat
got
of many
6 more
colors?
weeks of the year, Scotty.
Oh,
the
that
Hellenistic
coat
year.
So you're gonna have to wait till next year, right, for me to give you the answer?
I know the answer. If they don't study, it's so
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, right?
The
When Adam was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, God gave him a coat.
Oh,
Yes,
I gave him
yes.
the coat.
Okay, and according to tradition, when Adam was in his old age before he died, he passed it on. Noah, it got to Noah, 10 generations. One of his dear sons stole it from Noah and gave it to Nimrod. That's why it says that Nimrod was a mighty cunning hunter. What it was what the coat emitted a smell that drew the game to him. That's why he would kill him. The story says that down the line, they took it from Nimrod and passed it on to Esau. Okay? That's why he was a mighty cunning. That's why.
No, I thought he killed Eve. He killed Nimrod. Esau killed Nimrod.
Yes, he
Okay,
did.
Yeah. No one gave it to him, he killed him, and that's
He
where the
killed
whole
him and
lentil
took the
soup
coat?
comes in there.
He
Yes.
took the coat.
Oh.
Okay, so that's why he says he was a mighty cunning counter and he picked his venison. Did you eat garlic in the venison?
Or supposedly it smelled like a garden, right?
Garlic.
I know what he said, and I know what it.
So
You're not killing vampires.
I like garlic.
so you're going to read so you're going to delete that phrase from your you're going to edit that. So here we go. So Jacob leaves Israel, escapes Esau's wrath, and he settles in his mother's native land, and he dies. How many wives did Jacob have?
2.
Leah and Rachel. Oh, but what about the maidens of Leah and Rachel? They were sisters. Ah. When we get to that story, part of that story, you're going to find out that these two girls, that were the handmaids of Leah and Rachel, they were sisters, so they were half sisters of Leah and Rachel. Same father, different mothers. Okay? From here is where all the 12 tribes come into play. Okay? Honey, did you put Rachel and Leah? Come on, scribe, where you been?
Linda, it wasn't your fault, okay?
What?
That they didn't teach you.
Leah, okay? Now, Rebecca is only Isaac's daughter. Rebecca is Isaac's only wife. Put Rebecca in the center. Go down. Rebecca. Now, something very interesting here about Rebecca. Isaac prayed for her.
Yeah.
Why was he praying for her?
To have a child.
Why couldn't she have a child? Because she was born without a uterus. What? Is there anything too impossible for God?
No.
No. It was through Isaac's perseverance of prayer that God blessed her with a uterus so that she could conceive. That's where the twins come into play.
From a special uterus.
Okay? Who were those two twins?
Jacob and Esau. No, Isaac and Esau.
Mm-hmm. Esau and
You
Jacob.
got it right.
It was Esau and Jacob.
Firstborn is Esau.
Okay.
Get it right. Come on.
So, Abraham has one wife. No, he has two wives. Sarah. Sarah. I mean, yeah, Sarah.
Sarah and Keturah. Wait, where?
Abraham.
Abraham.
Or Hagar.
I know you're tired.
Oh, Hagar.
Same person.
Yes.
And
Keturah.
Keturah. Keturah.
Ooh, Keturah, crown. I never put that one together.
And crown. She was a crown.
She was the crown.
But she was a princess.
She was a princess.
Okay? Hagar is her first name. But then God changes the name to Keturah.
Keturah.
Okay? So, we're going to finish this next week because there's a lot. There's a lot of Hebrew. And to tell you that if you read all of Genesis 22, it says that Abraham comes down, verse 19 of Genesis 22, he comes down by himself. So the question is, where is Isaac? And some of the commentary says that Isaac went to study Torah in the school of Shem. Why was this?
Because he was a little.
He didn't leave Israel, did he?
He did.
He stayed within the. No, he was getting ready to go to Egypt, and God said, "You will not go into Egypt. You will stay in the land."
He was set apart.
He was set apart because there was going to be a famine in the land, and God says, you stay in the land. I will provide.
He got schooled.
Well, that's what it means when it says that he's a man of the tents.
Yes.
The tents of
Shem.
Shem.
Yeah. He was a Torah scholar, a of his day.
Right.
He was the Torah scholar at that time.
The Torah.
Well, I'm saying Isaac became the Torah scholar because of his study with Shem.
Yes. This is very important for us. I know it's tired and it's late. And next week, right after the Hebrew class, we'll get into the study immediately. And you can be eating while I'm doing the teaching, because in the Hebrew, it's so beautiful. When I started seeing Hineni, now Daniel said 24 times the word et appears in this chapter. Okay? Why et? Aleph and Tav, beginning and the end. Is God telling us that there's going to be a revelation here, a prophecy that we don't know yet?
I think so.
And it ties back all the way to Genesis 1:1.
I think so.
Bereshit bara Elohim et, fourth word, in the first 7 words of Torah.
Yeshua.
Okay? Et is the Mashiach.
Psalm 119. You gotta learn. That's why you gotta learn your letters, guys. You gotta know what that Aleph
Yeshua.
is.
Okay?
In the beginning.
Any questions?
Yeshua. And God.
Okay. I'll finish this next week.
Okay.
So, I know you guys have to leave. I'm sorry I kept you late. We're going to do Havdalah. Those going to do Havdalah with me. And we will see you all next week.
Stretch.
Turn off the phone, turn off the tablets. Jen, going to stay with us for Havdalah, or she already logged off?